How's it going, guys? Electron Man. Well, I got her cleaned up. Kind of turn her around here now. You can just see she really cleaned up. Cleaned up really well. I could tell somebody had actually this thing's been spray painted at one point because that's kind of residue left from spray paint from before. I could tell it wasn't that way factory. I think it was just completely white, and that and I noticed these knobs kind of had some red overspray, so either that or that's the way they made it, but I don't think so. But anyway, back to it. I did a little research on it and kind of a little history on it. It's a Tuner Master SM950 is what they call it, and it's actually made by, what was the name of that company? The Sharper Image, and it's a retro radio. I went out and kind of did some research on it. It seems to be fairly rare. The only real solid information I found is that it's a Tunemaster 950 and it was made in 1989, and it sold for about $300 brand new. So it wasn't by all means a cheap radio. It was a replica. I can't remember what it was now. I'd have to go back and look, but it's a replica of another older 1930s or 40s radio that they like the looks of. But the thing about it is it's a $300 radio, and I'm impressed so far. You know, I was up at a garage sale and figured it's definitely going to take some repair, and I was going to take it apart and see what dried up cats. But anyway, long story short, he said it didn't work. Well, actually, the only thing that was wrong with it is these little controller selector switches down here were dirty. Deoxit, which, by the way, if you don't, I need to get sponsorship from them, and that stuff's amazing. If you want a contact cleaner, I think it's the best stuff out there. It's called Deoxit. It's red. It's very pricey, but man, just to put a little cleaner on the contacts. But anyway, needless to say, I cleaned the contacts on it, and this radio works great. I'll go ahead and do another video. I love doing the scan videos where I'll go through all the different modes and show you what all it does and how good it receives. So far, initial impression with it is wow. For a newer radio, 1989. Of course, it's still, what, 32 years old? So it's getting to be kind of a antique in its own way. I mean, it's 32 years old. It's not even, I guess a classic's 50 and antique's actually 100, so it's got a way to go to antique. But it's coming around to be a classic. But anyway, back to the research I did, and it's actually a pretty sensitive, well-made shortwave radio. And from my initial impressions, it's a little bit different than I'm used to. I'm trying to, let me go ahead and turn it on here. The bands are a little bit different than what I'm used to. It took me a while to figure it out because there's no marks down here on these switches where they are. But if you look right here, there's a little legend here and here that shows you when the switch is all the way over there. It's AM, there's shortwave 1, shortwave 2, FM, air, and then it's got VHF. So it's a little bit different. And the shortwave 1 and 2, it looks like it goes from about 2 megahertz up to about 20 megahertz, which is really where most of your shortwave action's at anyway, so I think it's going pretty good. It's got some marks on here as far as Moscow, kind of different countries where typically they transmit. And let me go ahead and show you the back. Oh, and on the other side it has a, if you see, it shows 3 positions. Here's a 3-position switch. An auxiliary is if you wanted to hook like a CD player up to it. It's got a set of RCA inputs and outputs on the back. So you could either hook this into your stereo, or you could hook a CD player into it and use it as a CD player or a computer, whatever you wanted to use as basically a little speaker amp. Then you have radio, and then it also has weather, and that's pretty interesting, and it does work. In fact, every function I've tested on this works so far, but on the weather part, and actually let me get to the back of the radio and kind of tell you a little bit about it. Of course, on the back here, you've got 2 dials, and what you have is you have a fine-tuning and a BFO dial, and then you have a tone control, which they're not marked. You just have to figure it out, which it didn't take me a second to figure it out, but yeah, it's got a tone control and a BFO control, or a fine-tune. It's actually BFO and fine-tune. If BFO's off, you can use it to the fine-tune a channel, probably the band spread, and then it's got a typical, what is it, micro or 3.5 mil. I think that's 3.5 millimeter speaker out. It's got a headphone jack, BFO off switch. It's got your standard 300 ohm wire antenna. It's got a 75 ohm antenna and connector, and then, like I said, it's got your auxiliary in and out on it. But yeah, I mean, pretty I don't know, get that out. Pretty feature-filled radio, to be honest. I mean, for what I paid for it at the garage sale, I'm really very pleasantly happy with my purchase. I don't know if you noticed, but it cleaned up really good. It's got one area over here that I could probably touch up if I wanted to. In fact, but I don't really want to touch it up. You know, the scuff here and to me, a little bit of rub off here kind of gives it all a little bit of patina. But anyway, that's the kind of a review or an overview of the Tuner Master SM950. Hopefully, I've pretty much covered all the others. Of course, here is your volume control, and this is your main tune knob here. And like I said, we'll actually I'll do another video because it's going to take a little time to go through each one of them and kind of show you all the different bands and how they work. I don't know if I'm on a VHF and air we're going to pick up a whole lot, but we might pick something up. I do have an airport about 20 miles away from here, and I think, you know, it's got a broadcast signal. Sometimes I can find it, sometimes I can't. But anyway, we'll go through all the bands and kind of do, you know, a scan night and see what it compares with all my other shortwave radios. But so far, hey, I mean, pretty dang cool radio, and really all my labor was in cleaning it up. It was filthy. If you saw it before, used some alcohol and some rags and some elbow grease and a little bit of brushes, and you know, and of course I took it out and blew it all off first to get all the nastiness out of it, and came back in here and with some alcohol, got all the labels and stickers and tape it had on it, and poor thing's probably been sitting in the garage for 15-20 years. But anyway, here is my presentation of the Tuner Master SM950. Hope you enjoyed this little review of it, and look forward to you jumping into my next video when I take it across the bands and show you how it performs. Have a great day. This is Electron Man. If you get a chance, please take a moment to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. It really helps me out.